Mariselle's life began amidst chaos. Her parents, brave souls who fought valiantly in the war, never returned. Alone and vulnerable, she wandered the roads of Stormwind City. It was on one such lonely day that Khelden Bremen, a mage from Northshire, found her. Compassionate and kind, he took her in and gave her a home in Northshire. Under his care, Mariselle grew up, her curious eyes watching and learning from the mage who had saved her. As she grew, her fascination with Khelden's mastery of magic blossomed. Inspired by his craft, she began to practice fire magic, a discipline that soon revealed her natural talent. Her growing prowess did not go unnoticed. Khelden, impressed by her dedication and skill, saw an opportunity for her to help where she was needed most. The land was far from peaceful. Chaos loomed as the Stormwind guards struggled to maintain order. When Khelden asked Mariselle to lend her aid to the guards, she hesitated but ultimately accepted, knowing it was her chance to honor her parents' legacy and contribute to the greater good. Now her journey begins in earnest. One fine morning, Mariselle steps forward to speak with Deputy Willem, a familiar face she had never dared approach before. The sun rose gently over Northshire, its golden rays piercing through the stained glass of the cathedral. Mariselle awoke to the soft hum of life outside. Today felt different. A quiet determination stirred within her. Stepping out into the crisp morning air, she paused briefly, her gaze sweeping over the familiar grounds. The guards were already at their posts, the distant clang of smithing filling the air. Without hesitation, she walked purposefully toward Deputy Willem, her mind set on the task that awaited.
Good morning, Deputy Willem. Khelden asked me to meet with you. He said there's work to be done, and I'm here to help. What do you need?
I hope you strapped your belt on tight, young mage, because there is work to do here in Northshire. And I don't mean farming.
Farming? I'm not exactly dressed for the fields. What kind of work are we talking about?
The Stormwind guards are hard-pressed to keep the peace here, with so many of us in distant lands, and so many threats pressing close. And so we're enlisting the aid of anyone willing to defend their home, and their alliance.
I'm willing. Where do I start?
If you're here to answer the call, then speak with my superior, Marshal McBride. He's inside the abbey behind me.
Mariselle had often seen Marshal McBride in passing, a figure of quiet authority within the abbey. Though she had never spoken to him, his presence was unmistakable, always immersed in the matters of Northshire. She stepped through the cathedral doors, her resolve firm as she approached him.
Marshal McBride, Deputy Willem sent me. How can I assist?
Ah, good. Another volunteer. We're getting a lot of you these days.
I'm ready to help, Marshal. What do you need from me?
I hope it's enough. The human lands are threatened from without, and so many of our forces have been marshaled abroad. This, in turn, leaves room for corrupt and lawless groups to thrive within our borders. It is a many-fronted battle we wage. Mariselle, gird yourself for a long campaign. Your first task is one of cleansing, Mariselle. A clan of kobolds have infested the woods to the north. Go there and fight the kobold vermin you find. Reduce their numbers, so that we may one day drive them from Northshire.
Understood, Marshal. I'll take care of it.
Mariselle stepped out of the cathedral, the weight of her first task settling on her shoulders. The morning sun had risen higher, casting a warm glow over the abbey grounds. Just as she was about to head north, a familiar voice called out to her. She turned to see Deputy Willem gesturing in her direction, his expression urgent.
Mariselle, wait. Before you head out, I have another task for you.
Without hesitation, she walked back toward him.
Another task? What is it, Deputy?
Egan Peltskinner is looking for someone to hunt wolves for him. That's good news, because we're seeing a lot more wolves in Northshire Valley lately.
Wolves? Sounds manageable. Where can I find Egan?
If you're interested, then speak with Egan. He's around the side of the abbey to the left.
Got it, Deputy. I'll speak with Egan before heading out. Thanks for letting me know.
That's true. I'm looking for someone to hunt me some wolves. Are you that person?
I am. What do you need me to do?
I hate those nasty timber wolves. But I sure like eating wolf steaks. Bring me tough wolf meat, and I will exchange it for something you'll find useful. Tough wolf meat is gathered from hunting the timber wolves and young wolves wandering the Northshire countryside.
Mariselle turned toward the fields where wolves roamed freely across the countryside. She took a deep breath, deciding to test her abilities on a less powerful enemy before confronting the kobolds. Raising her hands, she focused her energy and unleashed a firebolt. The spell streaked through the air and struck the wolf, subduing it almost instantly. A small smile crept across her face, but it quickly faded as she felt the strain of the spell. Her magical reserves, the mana that fueled her power, had depleted faster than she expected. She targeted another wolf, repeating the process. Once again, the firebolt hit its mark, and the creature fell. Yet her mana was now dangerously low, forcing her to pause and wait for it to restore. The realization struck her. This tactic might work on passive creatures, but in the chaos of a real battle, where enemies attacked relentlessly, such a delay could prove fatal. Mariselle furrowed her brow in thought. She needed to understand her limits better, to wield her magic more effectively in combat. Training was one thing, but applying it in the unpredictable dangers of the world was a challenge of its own. As Mariselle reflected on her battles, a thought struck her. How could she optimize her attacks to conserve mana while effectively subduing her enemies? She scanned the field and spotted another wolf. This time, she decided to try a different approach. Mariselle cast a firebolt, striking the wolf, but instead of continuing to cast, she closed the distance and swung her staff, landing a solid hit. The combination worked. By alternating between her fire magic and physical strikes, she managed to preserve some of her mana. However, it took longer to bring the wolf down this way, and she realized that while this method conserved her magical power, it also left her vulnerable for a longer period during a fight. With the wolf meat collected, Mariselle turned her focus to the kobolds. These creatures were far more intelligent than the wolves. They didn't attack unprovoked, but when they did, their strikes were calculated and relentless. Mariselle kept to her strategy, combining fire magic with melee strikes from her staff. The first kobold charged after she unleashed a firebolt, but she countered with a swift strike, managing to subdue it. Moving carefully through the area, she faced each kobold with the same approach. The fights were draining, but her confidence grew as she subdued several of them, learning to adapt to their tactics. In the midst of her next battle, Mariselle felt a sudden chill course through her body. At first, she thought the relentless fighting was taking a greater toll on her than she had realized. But as the kobold fell and she took a moment to concentrate, she discovered something extraordinary. The constant use of her fire magic had an unexpected side effect. It was drawing energy from the environment, manifesting as a frost armor that wrapped around her. It was as though the elements themselves were responding to her magic, granting her an unexpected boon. Realizing her newfound ability, Mariselle didn't hesitate. She focused her will and summoned the frost armor to shield herself, marveling at her ability to control not just fire, but frozen water as well. With her frost armor shielding her, Mariselle felt a newfound confidence. The icy barrier not only protected her, but also gave her clarity, allowing her to control her fire magic with greater precision. Each firebolt she unleashed seemed to burn brighter, its impact more devastating than before. Turning her attention back to the wolves, she quickly finished gathering the remaining wolf meat. Her attacks were efficient, each strike a testament to her growing mastery over her powers. With her task complete, Mariselle wasted no time. She sprinted back to Egan Peltskinner, eager to hand over the meat and continue her journey.
You've been busy. I can't wait to cook up that wolf meat. I have some things here you might want. Take your pick.
Mariselle scanned through Egan's offerings, her eyes settling on a piece of cloth armor. It wasn't ornate, but it was practical, and she knew it would offer better protection than what she currently had.
Thank you, Egan. This will definitely come in handy.
Equipping the new armor, Mariselle gave Egan a quick nod of gratitude before turning her attention back to the task at hand. The kobolds were still a threat, and she needed to finish what she started. With her frost armor shimmering faintly around her, and her fire magic at the ready, she headed back to the fields to confront the remaining kobolds. Mariselle engaged the kobolds with precision, her strategy of alternating firebolts with melee strikes proving highly effective. She subdued a significant number of the creatures, her growing confidence evident with each victory. As the battles continued, she observed an unsettling detail. The kobolds weren't all the same. Many were vermin, weaker and easier to defeat, but she also encountered workers. These kobolds were harder at work, infesting the nearby mine with their relentless digging and hoarding. After finishing her task, Mariselle ran back to the cathedral, her bags brimming with items collected from the kobolds. She made her way to the small group of merchants camped nearby, familiar faces she had known for as long as she could remember. The merchants greeted her warmly and offered the best prices they could. Mariselle traded her findings, earning some much-needed coin. She knew the money would be important. Khelden had reminded her that every lesson she sought to learn came with a small fee.
Well done, citizen. Those kobolds are thieves and cowards, but in large numbers, they pose a threat to us. And the humans of Stormwind do not need another threat. For defeating them, you have my gratitude.
Thank you, Marshal. I'm glad I could help.
Mariselle, my scouts tell me that the kobold infestation is larger than we had thought. A group of kobold workers has camped near the Echo Ridge mine to the north. Go to the mine and remove them. We know there are at least 10. Kill them, see if there are more, then report back to me.
I've noticed that too, Marshal. I'll head there right away.
I was asked to bring this to your attention as soon as you return from the kobold camps, Mariselle. It appears to be a letter sealed with the insignia of Khelden, our local mage trainer. I wouldn't hesitate to read it before you go about any other business here in the Abbey.
Haha. I knew my note wouldn't dissuade you from your path. So you're prepared then, are you? Prepared to accept your fate? Prepared to challenge the gods, and any other forces that stand before you in the pursuit of knowledge and power?
You know me too well, Khelden. I've come too far to turn back now. I'm ready for whatever lies ahead.
I will not lie, Mariselle. You will be feared as much as respected. But also know this, I will be here for you when you need training. Simply seek me out as you grow more powerful.
Thank you, Khelden. You've always been there for me, and I won't let you down.
Khelden wasted no time and began teaching Mariselle a powerful technique, Arcane Intellect. This spell, he explained, would enhance her intellect and sharpen her mind, making her magic more potent and her spells more effective in battle.
Use this wisely, Mariselle. Arcane intellect is not just about strength, it's about precision and control. The more you understand your power, the greater your impact will be.
After a brief conversation and a few words of encouragement, Mariselle thanked Khelden and left his chambers. Her focus shifted back to the kobold workers near Echo Ridge Mine. With her new knowledge and growing confidence, she headed out, ready to face the challenges ahead. With arcane intellect coursing through her mind, Mariselle stepped out of the cathedral and sprinted toward Echo Ridge Mine. Curiosity swirled within her. She had always seen the kobolds wandering the countryside, but never imagined they were infesting the mine itself. The workers proved to be a formidable challenge. Their melee strikes hit with surprising force, leaving her bruised and weary. But her firebolts, refined and devastating, left no room for resistance. As she advanced toward the mine's entrance, she noticed a new class of kobolds. These kobolds seemed less skilled, their movements slower and less aggressive. It dawned on her that the kobolds had a structured society. Vermin served as protectors, workers explored the land, and laborers harvested resources. A clear division of roles. Mariselle paused to consider this. Was this evidence of intelligence? The kobolds weren't just mindless creatures. They had purpose and organization, however crude it appeared.
Marshal, I've cleared out the kobold workers as you requested. But there's something you should know. The mine is crawling with kobolds, and they're organized. Vermins protect the area, workers explore, and laborers harvest resources. It's more than just random infestation.
I don't like hearing of all these kobolds in our mine. No good can come of this. Here, take this as payment, and when you're ready, speak to me again. I would like you to go back to the mines one more time.
I'm ready, Marshal. I don't want to waste time. Just tell me what needs to be done.
Your previous investigations are proof that the Echo Ridge mine needs purging. Return to the mine and help clear it of kobolds. Waste no time, Mariselle. The longer the kobolds are left unmolested in the mine, the deeper a foothold they gain in Northshire.
Understood, Marshal. I'll make sure the mine is cleared.
Mariselle hurried out of the cathedral, ready to take on her task. Just outside, she caught sight of Deputy Willem. He looked concerned, though his calm demeanor made it difficult to tell. For a moment, Mariselle thought to ask him what was wrong, but decided against it. There was a job to finish and she couldn't afford distractions. Reaching the Echo Ridge mine, she focused on the kobold laborers, systematically clearing the area. Her spells struck with precision, her staff ready for any that got too close. By the time the mine was quiet, she felt both relief and accomplishment. On her way back to the cathedral, she noticed Willem again. This time, she decided to approach him before reporting to Marshal McBride.
Recently, a new group of thieves has been hanging around Northshire. They call themselves the Defias Brotherhood and have been seen across the river to the east. I don't know what they're up to, but I'm sure it's not good. Bring me the bandanas they wear, and I'll reward you with a weapon.
The Defias Brotherhood? I've heard rumors about them. I'll take care of it, Deputy. Marshal, the mine has been cleared of the kobold laborers. There may still be a few stragglers, but it's much safer now.
Once again, you have earned my respect and the gratitude of the Stormwind army. There may yet be kobolds in the mine, but I will marshal others against them. We have further tasks for you.
I'm ready, Marshal. Just tell me what needs to be done.
Mariselle, you are a mage with proven interest in the security of Northshire. You are now tasked with the protection of the surrounding Elwyn forest. If you accept this duty, then I have prepared papers that must be delivered to Marshal Dubin in Goldshire. Goldshire lies along the southern road, past the border gates.
I accept the task, Marshal. I'll deliver the papers and make my way to Goldshire.
Though her next task would take her to Goldshire, Mariselle knew she had unfinished business at the Abbey. The Defias Brotherhood thieves mentioned by Deputy Willem needed to be dealt with first. Only then could she leave Northshire with a clear conscience. Before setting out, Mariselle decided to check with Khelden. If anyone had advice or tools to help her deal with the Defias brothers, it was her mentor. Khelden didn't disappoint.
Ah, Mariselle. I thought you might stop by. I have just the thing for you, a spell you've already seen in a different form. Frostbolt. It's an offensive power, the inverse of fire. Precise, chilling, and effective against most foes.
Khelden also taught her a method to rejuvenate her mana during longer battles, a way to conjure water from thin air. These abilities, tied to the control of water, fascinated Mariselle.
Use these tools wisely, Mariselle. Frostbolt and Conjure Water will give you the edge you need, not just against the Defias, but in your journey ahead.
Equipped with her new abilities and a growing sense of readiness, Mariselle prepared herself for the challenge ahead. The Defias Brotherhood would soon learn what it meant to face a mage of Northshire. Mariselle reached the bank of the river, her eyes scanning the area for the thieves of the Defias Brotherhood. She knew better than to charge in recklessly. Instead, she moved carefully along the water's edge, making her way to the waterfall. From there, she planned to start her assault. Curious to test her new ability, Mariselle spotted her first target and cast a Frostbolt. The spell struck the thief with a chilling impact, not only damaging them but slowing their movement significantly. A small smile formed on her lips. This ability gave her the perfect window to channel a Firebolt, delivering a powerful follow-up without taking any damage herself. The realization excited her. She now had a combination to refine. Should she rely on Frostbolt alone, or mix frost and fire for a more balanced strategy? She decided to experiment. Her first attempt involved leading with a Frostbolt, followed by a series of Firebolts. The results were undeniable. The initial frost slowed the thief enough to land consecutive firebolts with devastating precision, giving her a clear advantage over her previous encounters. Encouraged by her initial success, Mariselle decided to experiment further. This time, she alternated between a single Frostbolt and a single Firebolt. The results surprised her. This combination used less mana and kept the enemy slowed for a longer duration. It gave her enough time to retreat, create distance, and prepare for another attack if needed. This tactic felt promising. The ability to control the pace of the fight by slowing her opponent while dealing consistent damage was a game changer. However, Mariselle quickly realized its limitations. If more enemies were nearby, the time spent alternating spells could leave her vulnerable to attacks from others. Still, she resolved to practice and master this strategy. With more experience and training, she believed she could refine it into a reliable tool for the challenges ahead.
Here are the bandanas, Deputy. I've collected all 12 as you requested.
Back with some bandanas, I see. The Stormwind Army appreciates your help. Garrick Padfoot, a cutthroat who's plagued our farmers and merchants for weeks, was seen at a shack near the vineyards, which lies east of the Abbey and across the bridge. Bring me the villain's head and earn his bounty. But be wary, Mariselle. Garrick has gathered a gang of thugs around him. He will not be an easy man to reach.
I'll take care of him, Deputy. The Defias Brotherhood will regret causing trouble in Northshire.
Mariselle made her way toward the vineyard, her mind set on completing 2 tasks. Millie had asked for help saving her harvest, and since the vineyard lay on the path to Garrick's hideout, Mariselle decided to handle both missions at once. She began clearing the vineyard of threats, carefully working her way from the river to the mountain. As she fought, she collected the scattered crates of Millie's harvest, ensuring the area was safe for her to continue. With the crates secured, Mariselle climbed to the first step of the hill to assess the situation near Garrick's shelter. From her vantage point, she spotted Garrick Padfoot, accompanied by another thug. They stood guard near a makeshift shack, their movements deliberate and intimidating. Mariselle took a moment to think. Her spells had grown stronger, but the 2 thugs looked formidable. She knew that if she wasn't careful, they could overpower her easily. Determined, she devised a plan. Garrick would be her primary target. If she could take him down quickly, the other thug would fall more easily. Steeling herself, she launched her attack with a Frostbolt, followed by a barrage of Firebolts aimed directly at Garrick. As expected, the second thug charged at her, but she didn't waver, focusing her efforts entirely on Garrick. Turning her attention to the second foe, Mariselle unleashed a relentless series of frost and firebolts, finally subduing him as well. With the battle won, she collected Garrick's head as proof of her success. Without hesitation, she made her way back to Deputy Willem, eager to report her victory.
Deputy, I've taken care of Garrick Padfoot. Here's his head as proof.
Ha! You caught him. You've done Elwyn a great service and earned a nice bounty.
Mariselle nodded to Deputy Willem, acknowledging his praise before turning her focus to the tasks still unfinished. She made her way to Millie, handing over the crates she had carefully collected from the vineyard. Millie's gratitude was heartfelt, and the small moment of kindness brought a fleeting sense of peace to Mariselle's otherwise relentless journey. With her duties in Northshire completed, she stopped by Khelden one last time to express her gratitude. He had not only guided her, but had given her the tools to forge her path. With the sun dipping lower in the sky, Mariselle set off on the road to Goldshire. Her mind swirled with thoughts of what lay ahead. She had mastered 2 powerful spells, one to command fire and the other to control ice. The strength she felt was tempered by an undercurrent of fear. Uncertainty clung to her as tightly as her robes. But Mariselle knew this was just the beginning. The journey ahead would demand everything she had, and she was determined to meet it with courage.